Okay, do you know what one of my favorite foods is, especially comfort foods? A favorite comfort food is mac and cheese. I just adore mac and cheese. I just think you can't go wrong with it. It's warm and cozy and cuddly. So this recipe and video comes from the Disney Princess Cookbook, and it's a mac and cheese dinner, and it's actually called Mac and Cheeseburger. Show you the picture here. So it's inspired from Cinderella. You can see the bottom of the recipe thing here. I don't want to give the recipe away. There's a little picture of Gus there. So it's a recipe inspired from the mice because they love cheese, and I can kind of relate to that too. I love mac and cheese. I love cheese. I love pasta. I mean, what's not to love when you mix them together? So this mac and cheese burger is a little different. So basically you're making some macaroni noodles, which I actually have those on the stove right now, boiling and getting cooked. You saute some hamburger or turkey. It says to use a half a pound. I'm going to use turkey. It's actually ironic. I tend to buy things by the whole pound. And one of the recipes I made yesterday, the porcupine meatballs, if you want to look for that video, required 1.5 pounds of meat. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to just do that and then take the other half pound and make this the next day. So it kind of worked out. This is what I do when I try to plan ahead. I try to see if I can use stuff that I can use for other recipes. Anyway, so I'm going to use the turkey, probably just to make it somewhat healthier because I know all this cheese is not good. So at least the turkey's healthier than the red meat, I guess, in this. I'm going to ground that, add it with the noodles, and then I have basically a cheese sauce I'm going to be making on the stovetop, mixing it together, put it in the oven. Mixing together. And before I put it in the oven, there is a butter crumb topping thing that I put on it, put it in the oven, let it bake, and then we've got a good hearty casserole for dinner. Okay, so right here I'm kind of mashing up the ground turkey. I'm going to cook it. And then over here, I've got my pasta starting to boil, and it's actually been cooking for several minutes now, and I think it's close to being done. My oven is preheating, and it's probably about to go off because it's close to the temperature. Once that's done, I'm going to drain, mix the ground turkey together in my casserole dish that I have here. And then there's the oven preheated. Then I'm going to start making the cheese sauce once I kind of have this part done. All right, so I've got my sauce on the stove cooking. So here I'm adding the milk to the flour and butter mixture. Now I'm adding just a couple seasonings and stirring it all together. So here I'm adding the first bag of cheese to the mixture. Calls for 4 cups of cheese, and each bag is 2 cups. So that's why I'm putting 2 bags in my mixture. Now I'm stirring all the cheese together until it's all melted and the sauce is nice and thick. All right, my cheese sauce is getting nice and thick, so I'm going to pour it over the casserole, the noodles, and the hamburger. Now I'm just mixing all the sauce together in with the noodles and the meat. Final step, bread topping. All right, here it is out of the oven. Let it cool for a couple minutes and eat it. All right, it's time to taste test this, and I can see the steam coming off the noodles. yeah, I mean, it's really good. I mean, it's mac and cheese. What's not to love about it? I will say though, I could probably use maybe a little salt or a little pepper, but I'll add a little bit to it and then I'll enjoy it and report back with my final thoughts. All right, it's time to discuss what I thought of the mac and cheeseburger. As I said, I love me some mac and cheese. So this was, I figured, be a pretty big hit. And overall, it was good. I think it just, as I had mentioned during the taste test, it was a little bland. Once we added some salt and pepper to it, way better. And the recipe doesn't actually call for any salt and pepper. And I guess that's one of those things, you know, you can always add it. So as I said, I never get like a huge big deal out of something if you do the salt and pepper. And you know, it also mentions too, a big part of the taste profile is the cheese that you use. This recommends using sharp cheddar cheese, and as I said, I just used the store brand, probably the cheap brand of the store-bought, pre-shredded, and just dumped it in. You know, it said 4 cups, and I think I used, each bag is 2 cups, so I used 2 bags, and got it in. So I think you could definitely get some more fun flavors from this based on the cheeses that you use. And you know, like I said, next time I make it, I would probably just add a pinch of salt and pepper in it just for my own preference. But overall, it made a really nice hearty meal, and it was pretty good. And I will say though, because it only used a half a pound of meat, it was nice, but it's definitely very carb heavy. You know what I mean? The meat is there, but it's not like strong. So I could see potentially adding a little bit more meat, maybe like a full pound or something next time instead of just half a pound, if you're looking to put maybe a little bit more protein into this. But that being said, let's get into my rankings and reviews. The first is the ingredients on a scale of 1 to 5 in terms of how easy to how difficult they are to find and also how expensive they are. You know, I'm gonna give us like a 1.5. You know, it's almost a 1. It's basically just pasta and milk and cheese and meat and stuff, so it does add up a little bit, but nothing's hard to find and nothing is super expensive, at least compared to other things in the grocery store right now. They're pretty reasonable. Difficulty level on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being easy and 5 being difficult. I'm kind of thinking about this again. It's probably right in the middle, like a 2 to 2.5. It's not bad. I mean, you just ground up things, you do your pasta, but there's different steps. You know, you got to boil the pasta and cook it, and you got to ground up the hamburger. The most time-consuming part is that cheese mixture, because you basically, you know, you put the butter in there with the flour, and you get that kind of like, what do they call it, like a chew or something, pastry. Then you add your milk and you add your cheese, and you got to kind of keep stirring it very frequently, you know, until everything is nice and melted and the cheese is thick. So that's where it kind of comes in a little bit, where it's a little bit more time-consuming. But other than that, I don't think it's super, super difficult. You know, that's why I'm just putting it in the middle. It's just a little more time consuming, a little bit more, few more steps involved. But I mean, and you do have to watch that sauce, because it would be easy for that to burn if you're not doing it properly. And then would I make this again on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being never and 5 being absolutely? Again, I love a good mac and cheese recipe. But it's also something like, I feel like I've had a few out there that are similar, but maybe a little bit better. But I do appreciate the simplicity of this one. So I'm going to give it like a 3. I think I will definitely probably make it again someday. As I said, I might modify the cheeses that I use. I may experiment a little bit with some of the other things like that. You know, it's really tempting maybe to just omit the meat altogether instead of then, why it's on a dish by itself, you know, just do like a baked mac and cheese. And again, there's recipes out there that I've followed before that are similar. So that's why I'm kind of like in the middle with it. You know, as a casserole, I feel like it needs a little bit more because there's not enough meat. But as a side dish, yeah, it could definitely work as more of a side dish than that. But yeah, anyway, that is my review of the mac and cheeseburger from the Disney Princess Cookbook.